And as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man. They did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came, and destroyed them all. Likewise also as it was in the days of Lot. They did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven, and destroyed them all. Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed. In that day he which shall be upon the housetop, and his stuff in the house, let him not come down to take it away. And he that is in the field, let him likewise not return back. Remember Lot's wife. Jesus tells us to remember this woman, remember Lot's wife. But why? It's such a cryptic warning. Why does he want us to remember this woman? To answer all of these questions, we have to turn back to Genesis, and we have to look at the story, the account of Lot, to figure out what makes her so important. You see, Lot was wealthy. He was really wealthy. And so was his uncle, Abraham. They were so great, according to the Bible. They were men of great substance. And their substance was so great that they could not stay in the same place. And it was causing strife between the herdsmen, and Abraham is the one who said that we have to separate. Lot, you may choose where you may go. And Lot chose the plains of Jordan. And when he chose it, he saw that it was well watered, and that it was good, and that there was good commerce. He saw that there was many trade caravans going through this area, and so when he pitched his tent, he pitched it towards Sodom. Eventually, as time passed, Lot eventually moved himself and his family into Sodom itself. And of course, not only did they move into Sodom, but Sodom moved into their hearts as well. Lot's daughters eventually married the men of Sodom, and his wife grew more materialistic, surrounded by all of this wealth and all of this commerce. And Sodom grew exceedingly wicked, according to the Bible. It was then that God knew that he would destroy this exceedingly wicked city. They had departed completely from God, and their wickedness cried out to him. God had warned Abraham of this destruction, and he told him that he was going to bring destruction on this city, and Abraham immediately thought about his nephew Lot. And Abraham pleaded with God. He said, "Would you save any that were righteous in this city?" And God said yes. After much pleading between him and God, the angels finally depart on their way to Sodom. And of course, none other than Lot would greet them at the city gates and welcome them into his home. Unfortunately, the men of Sodom saw this. They saw Lot bring these men into his home, these angels, and they surrounded his house and demanded that he allow those men to come out to them, that they might have their way with him. And after pushing against Lot to get into the house, the angels saved Lot and pulled him inside. And they smote the men at the door with blindness. The angels warned Lot that the destruction is coming, and that you need to get your family out of this city. You see, Lot went out to warn his son-in-laws, and the only thing that they did in response to his warning was they laughed at him, and they mocked him. And he had no other choice but to just go home, save his daughters and save his wife. But they lingered. The threat of destruction was upon them, and they lingered. So much so that the angels eventually had to grab them and pull them to the outer gates to save them. They had warned them. They said that you need to run to the mountains, do not look back, lest you be consumed. Lot argued that the mountains were too far, and eventually they said, fine, run to the town that you think you can make it to, but don't look back, lest you be consumed. So they ran. They ran and they ran until finally they were entering into the gates of this small town. They had just left Sodom and were almost safe from its destruction. And as they entered into the gates and fire and brimstone rained down, something tugged at the heart of Lot's wife. Sodom had moved into her heart so much that even though she was told an express command to run and not look back, she had to look back because there was something in Sodom calling out to her that she missed. In that instant, she was turned into a pillar of salt and destroyed. If you look at Luke chapter 17, verse 26, you see that Lot's wife could represent us today. According to this verse, we live in a modern day Sodom. The times now are just like they were back in the days of Lot, in the days of Noah. Wickedness has grown exceedingly great again. And unfortunately, just like the people back in that day, just like the son-in-laws of Lot, we've grown numb. And unfortunately, many of the world's vices have crept into our daily lives. Many professed Christians struggle with substance abuse, whether it be alcohol or tobacco or recreational drugs. We tell ourselves that these things won't keep us from getting to heaven. We fool ourselves into thinking that we're in control of these vices and not the other way around. And we always say that when heaven comes, I'll let go of it. But we may not even get that chance to get to heaven if those vices are holding us to earth. And unfortunately, many of us love these things, and we don't even see a need to let them go. The Bible, according to James chapter 4, verse 4, warns us that if we have fallen in love with the things of this world, that if we cling to these things, we're adulterers by nature, and that a love for these things is enmity with God. If we are a friend to the world, by default, we are an enemy to God. Likewise, in 1 John chapter 2, verse 15, you have the love for the world, the love of the Father is not in you. There are two men in the Bible that Jesus uses to describe the struggle of getting to heaven. He tells us of a rich young ruler who had many things here on earth. And it shows that he was passionate and that he wanted to get to heaven and that he even kept the commandments. But the one thing he could not do was to let go of his possessions here on earth, because they were more precious to him than heaven. On the other hand, Jesus describes to us a man who found a pearl of great worth. And when he found out how much this pearl was, he didn't bargain, he didn't even hesitate. He went home, he sold everything that he had to get hold of that precious pearl. This pearl represented heaven, and this man was willing to give up everything that he held dear to chase after heaven, because it was worth more than everything here on earth to him. It's this reason that Jesus tells us to remember Lot's wife. Are we in danger of being so held up and controlled by the things that we find dear, our beloved sins? Or will we be like that man who bought the pearl of great price? Will we be like that man and give up everything? Will we be like Lot? And will we run and not look back and listen to the expressed instructions of God? In the end, the choice is ours. Will we accept Christ? Will we follow the things that he wants us to follow? Or will we do it our way and cling to the things that we want? Christianity is misunderstood enough. And it is my hopes that this video brings us one step closer to understanding the biblical truths of Christianity. If you have any comments, any questions or concerns, please leave them down below. We will be having a video series soon to answer all of these questions. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.